as soon as we walk in. I'm wearing Cuban links, designer mix, and with finest shoes. Don't look too hard, might hurt yourself. Known to get the color red, the blue. Shit. I'm a dangerous man with some money in my pocket. Keep up. So many pretty girls around me and they're waking up. Keep up. Why you mad? Fix your face. Ain't my fault they all be jacking. Keep up. Players on there. Come on, put your pinky rings up to the moon. Girls, what y'all trying to do? 24 karat magic in the air. Here's the toe so bad. Look out. Second verse for the hustlers, gangsters, bad bitches and your ugly ass friends. I cannot preach, I gotta show them how I can't get it in. First, take your sister, do your dip, spend your money like money ain't shit.
Hey guys, welcome back. Woo, okay, we're day two of this Build Your Own App Challenge. I'm super excited to have you here with me again. This is going to be really fun. I just want to let me turn my music off here. I just want to do some housekeeping because I know some of you guys were here for the class yesterday. Some of you guys were not here for the class yesterday. So I just want to talk about what to expect and how all that works. So let me just see. I want to hear for everybody who's here. Can you put the number 1 in the chat if you were here for day 1? You were here for yesterday. And put a 2 in the chat if you were not here yesterday. You did not get a chance to see yesterday's class. Put a 1 in the chat if you saw it, and a 2 in the chat if you did not see yesterday's class. It's okay if you missed yesterday's class. I'm going to tell you what to do if you want to play catch up, but just first want to see where everybody is. I see Tari's in the house. Hello. Charles is in San Diego. Okay, lots of 1s coming in. Okay, I see some 2s. Some people missed yesterday's class. Wow, chat's going fast. Okay, 1s, 2s, 1s, 2s. Okay, got it. All right, so here's something important for you to know, particularly if you're a 2, particularly if you missed it, but also just in general, if you're trying to figure out how to get a replay of yesterday's class. Because the thing is, the way that this is going to go, we have a 3-day challenge. So this is day 1. Sorry, yesterday was day 1. Today is day 2. We're going to have a day off tomorrow. So tomorrow is a catch-up day. So if you missed it, you can catch up tomorrow. And then Thursday is our final day. Technically, it's day 3. Does that make sense? So if you missed day 2, I would like to send you via email the recording. However, some of you guys formally RSVP'd for this event. And some of you guys did not. I just sent you a text and you jumped in, but you didn't RSVP for it. So what I want to do really quickly is if you want me to send you the recording, I need to know that you want me to send you the recording. And that means I just need you to RSVP for this challenge. Let me give you the link real quick. I'm going to drop it into the chat. And if you are RSVP'd for the challenge, then you will get my, here, I just put it into the chat. If you are RSVP'd for the challenge, then you will get the replay and all that information. Now, if you already did this, you're good to go. You're done. But if you did not, please click that link and RSVP for the rest of this challenge so that I can send you, here's the recap of all the information. Does that make sense? So make sure you're RSVP'd on that link if you have not done it already. If you already did it, you're good to go. This is the RSVP. There's a question, isn't it on YouTube? It is on YouTube, but you have to have the special link to it. It's not like on my YouTube channel. So here's the RSVP link. Y'all got that? Do y'all see that? Okay. Click that link to RSVP. You have to click the link. Don't type RSVP into the chat. That's not going to do anything. Click the link and actually put your information into RSVP for it so you get the information. Cool. Okay. Check. Way to talk about that. Let me tell you what we're doing and what to expect in this challenge. If you were here yesterday, you know a little bit, but here's how it's going to work. Each day of the challenge, I am going to build a little piece of an app step by step. You're going to get to watch me do it, and you get to choose how you want to participate. So one way that you can participate is you can watch only. You don't have to do anything, just watch me do it. And you'll soak up lots of knowledge and learning, take lots of notes, but all you have to do is watch. And you can do watch only mode. The other way that you can participate in this challenge this week is you can watch and build. And what that means is you watch this class right now, you stay here and watch. And then as soon as our class is over, this is going to turn into a recording. And when it turns into a recording, then I want you to try everything that I did on my screen. Now, why do I recommend that you build along if you're going to take that route? Why do I recommend you build while it's in recording mode and not in live mode? Well, because all of us move at a different pace. For some of you guys, you may want to rewind, fast forward. Hey, what was that she did again? And so you'll be able to do that on the recording mode. So again, you have two ways you can participate in this challenge. You can watch only, it's watch mode, or you can watch and build. All right, and if you're doing that, you're going to watch first, and then you're going to try it yourself for homework. Let me know in the chat which of the two ways you're going to do, how you're going to approach this. Are you going to watch only, or are you going to watch and build? Let me know in the chat how you're going to proceed. How do you plan to approach this? Just let me know so we have a clear plan before we dive in. You're going to watch only, or are you going to watch and build? Cool, cool. Watch only. Awesome. Okay, I see one person said watch only. If you're trying to RSVP, I pinned the link, but let me paste it here. RSVP. Okay, I see watch only, watch and build, watch and build. Okay, yeah, watch first, build later. Yeah, if you're watching and build, you're going to watch first and then build later. That's exactly right. Okay, so a mix, right? The only thing that I recommend you don't do is to build right now as I'm live. That's the only thing. Okay, all right. Finally, the last little piece of housekeeping before I jump into this. Yesterday, in day one, we talked about how to come up with an app idea. And a lot of you guys were telling me that you were getting brainstorming ideas of app ideas that you could build. Let me know, put a 3 into the chat. Put the number 3 if you have an idea for an app. Maybe you haven't thought it all the way through, but you have an idea of kind of something that you might think would be cool to see out in the world. Put a 3 in the chat if you have a little bit of an idea for an app. Put a 4 in the chat if you have absolutely no idea what kind of app you might build. All right, put a 3 if you got a little bit of an idea. Maybe I could build this. Put a 4 if you have absolutely no idea what kind of app you might want to build. Now, if you put a 4 into the chat, you absolutely want to watch yesterday's class, because day one, I gave my formula for coming up with app ideas. So if you were a 4, you absolutely want to go back and watch that recording. It'll really help you map out how to come up with something. I see lots of 3s, some 4s. It's a mix. So if you put 4, make sure you watch that recording. It's going to really help you sort through some ideas based on stuff that you already know something about. You don't have to make up some wild, crazy idea that no one's ever heard of before. We're going to take something you already know something about. Okay, all right. So let's jump into this, because what I told you yesterday was that if you have an idea for an app, what we're going to do this week will be helpful, right? Because we're building an Airbnb style app this week, right? We're going to do it as an example, just so that you can learn the skills and have practice building an app. However, I'm pretty sure that Airbnb is not your exact app idea. For those of you who put a 3, you want to build something unique, not exactly Airbnb. You have your own idea that you want to build. And so for those of you who really want to talk, Jason says, Tara, I have a really dope idea. We need to chat about it. Okay, Jason, so for people like you who have an idea and you're like, okay, I want to figure out how to make this work and how to actually move forward with my app idea, what I'm going to do is in a few minutes, I'm going to give you guys a link to book a call, a one-on-one call with me and my team to talk through your app idea and if my 8-week training program is a good fit for you. So in a minute, I'm going to give you that link. I have not given it to you yet. But if you're thinking about your own app idea, not just Airbnb, that's just for us to learn some skills, but your own app idea, then we absolutely should talk and book a call. Now, before we do this, I'm going to share my screen because we're going to jump into the lesson now. And I saw someone in the chat ask this question. I don't remember who it was. Someone asked me this yesterday, and then also I just saw it today. And the question was, Tara, can you talk about how people make money with app ideas? Like, how the heck does this thing make money? And so I want to quickly do a quick mini lesson on that for you. And then we're going to dive into continuing to build our Airbnb app. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me know in the chat once you can see my screen. I think it'll come up right away. Okay. There was a question, how much is the call? The call is completely and totally free. It's just to help you sort through your ideas and see if it's a good fit. And then if you decide to do my 8-week training program or even hire my team to build the app for you, then the price ranges between $2,000 and $6,000. And that is for the full 8-week training program, the classes, the intensives, all of that. Or, if that range, at the higher end of the range, we'll build the app for you. So there's a range. Okay, so I want to quickly talk about making money with an app idea. We have to talk about this really quickly, right? And I want to introduce you to this idea to wrap your head around of how to charge $50 a month or more for your app idea. Because here's the thing, most people, when they come up with an idea for an app, they assume that their app should be free or 99 cents or maybe like $5, $10. Let me know in the chat if you were thinking that, like you were thinking that your app should be like free, maybe 99 cents, maybe $10, something like that. Let me know in the chat if that's kind of what you had in your mind. Okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I would highly encourage you to reconsider making your app free or 99 cents or any kind of low price point like that. And here's why. If you do that, you are going to be broke for the first few years. So quick reality check, your app should not be free or 99 cents. You are welcome to do the math to calculate how many 99 cents at a time you need to pay your bills. It's a lot. You need a lot of 99 cents to pay your bills, right? And here's specifically the problem, right? So the problem is that if you want to, let's say that you want to make $60,000 a year with your app idea, right? If you charge 99 cents, then what that means is that you need 60,606 new customers every single year to make this work. Right? That's a lot. What that means is you're going to have to bust your butt on marketing to get those 60,000 people just to pay yourself. We're not even talking about like hiring an assistant or anybody to help you. That's just to pay yourself. Right? But what if you charge $50 a month for your app idea instead? Well, if you charged $50, you would only need, this is the math, you would only need 166 customers to make an extra $100,000 this year. 166 customers to make $100,000. So I want you to tell me in the chat, let me know your answer. Which would you rather have? A business where the minimum you need is 166 customers, or a business where the minimum that you need is 60,000 customers? Let me know in the chat which you would prefer to have. Yeah, got it. Yeah, most of us would prefer to have the business model where you only need a minimum 166 customers. Now you can have an unlimited number. I'm not saying you could only have 166, but the minimum that you need, right? Like it's much easier. We can get 166 people. You probably got 166 friends on Facebook, right? 60,000, that's a totally different beast, right? So my job today in this first little mini lesson we're going to do before we start building is to show you how you can price your app so that you get paid what you're worth. Because the reality is that you even being here in this class right now is worth more than 99 cents. Your time is worth more than 99 cents, right? So there are a ton of different ways that you can price your app and different ways and structures and business models for this. In my 8-week training program, I teach all of the different ways, but I'm just going to show you one right now, just to sort of open your mind to this. And this one way is called white labeling. Let me know in the chat if you have heard of white labeling. You've heard me talk about white labeling before. You've heard it out somewhere. Anyone heard of white labeling before? Maybe from me, maybe from someone else. So here's how white labeling works. With white labeling, you first ask yourself, what kind of company or organization would want to have their own version of this app? What kind of companies or organizations would want to have their own version of this app? And what you do is you find a company that's interested, or an organization. It could be a nonprofit. It could be a small business. And you make a copy of your app. You design the app and you make a copy of it. And you take your logo off and you put the company's logo on. So you design the app, make a copy. Your logo comes off, their logo comes on. And so they get to say, hey, look at our cool app with our cool logo on it. and you charge them essentially a lot of money to take credit that they have this cool new app. Right? That's what white labeling is. You make a copy of your app, take your logo off, put their logo on, and you can charge people to take credit for the app. Right? So this is Josh. Josh, I talked to you about yesterday when we were talking about coming up with app ideas. He created an app to teach music classes. He's one of the entrepreneurs that I've coached. And at first he assumed that he should charge parents for the app. And he was going to do like a $4.99, $5 a month subscription. But first he asked himself, wait a minute, stop. What kinds of companies or organizations would want to have their own version of this app? And he thought about it and he was like, well, I think schools would. Schools that are trying to teach music classes, they would like to have their own version of this app. And that's exactly what he did. So instead of charging $5 to each parent at a time, he decided to charge the schools for access to the app instead. And so instead of charging $5 at a time, he's charging $5,000 per school and up depending on how many students that they have. Okay. So when you white label an app, what's really cool about this is that your pricing starts, meaning it really shouldn't go below $3,000 a year. If you want, you could split it up monthly. So that'd be like $250 a month if you split it up by 12. But it really shouldn't go under that. Now, why in the world would anyone pay? Why would a company pay $3,000 for access to an app? I thought apps were 99 cents. Well, think about it. Think about what their alternative is. The alternative is that they hire a software developer, and that's going to cost $20,000 and up. I don't know if you guys know this. That's how much it costs to have someone build an app for you traditionally. So they've got $20,000 or your $3,000 a year. Which one you think they're going to pick? Right? And so you can, when you white label, you can do this for an unlimited number of customers. You can have 100 companies, 100 organizations that you white label for. There's an unlimited number. So I have a question for you. And I just want to give you, before I ask you this question, I just want to give you a couple examples of how this white labeling works. Let's say you have an idea for an app that helps homeless folks, right? So you probably can't charge individual homeless folks very much for an app. They don't have a big budget. So you might ask yourself, well, what kinds of companies or organizations would want to have their own version of this app that has resources for homeless folks? And you think about it and you're like, well, what about like nonprofits and foundations that have whole budgets set aside? Many of them get millions and millions of dollars of funding to help these populations. So you take your app, you make a copy of it, you take your logo off, you put the nonprofit's logo on, and you charge them minimum $3,000 a year to have their own app. You can do that for lots of nonprofits all over the country. Or let's say you have an idea for a gardening app that has when to water plants and what fertilizer to use. You could sell that to individual people, but most people aren't going to pay that much for it. So you want to ask yourself, what kinds of companies or organizations would want to have their own version of this app? And you think about it and you're like, okay, well, what about like sort of Home Depot like stores, like home improvement kind of stores, or nurseries, or sorts of, plant nurseries, organizations like that, right? So you take your app and make a copy, take your logo off, put their logo on. You can do it for an unlimited number of stores. And you're charging $3,000 a year. If you want to do monthly, it's $250 and up, right? So I have a question for you. I want you to tell me the answer in the chat. As you think about kind of an idea that you might have for an app, I want you to tell me in the chat, what kinds of companies or organizations would be interested in your app, having their own version? Let me know in the chat what kinds of companies or organizations might be interested in having their own version of your app. Give you a second to brainstorm. Shalonda says it's basically a template. In a way, yes, it's sort of like a streamlined template. And depending on how much they're paying you, you can make a slight little adjustment depending on who they are. Okay, so Miss Diamond says gyms would want this. Lamar Lavish says, is this live? Yes, it is. We do tech says the food industry. Yeah, companies like Uber or Amazon. One thing I want to make sure you do is don't give me one specific company. So if you give me Uber and Amazon say no, then you're screwed. So give me like the category, the industry of like high schools, townships, college book companies, hospitals, mobile laundry companies, insurance companies, restaurants, exactly. Educational institutions, right? Wellness coaches, record labels, travel agencies. Y'all got this, right? They have their own logo on it. And essentially you say, if you sort of make an ego decision, you say, listen, I'm not going to have the ego of having my logo on it, but I am going to get the big old check. And at the beginning of a business, that's often what you want to do. Catering companies, corporations, college prep. Yep, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So that's just one way. That's just one way. Oh, and quickly, I just want to ask you guys, as you're brainstorming, can you also put in the chat, tell me what you think those kinds of organizations would pay for something like this? What do you think they would pay for access to an app like this? You can give me like what they would pay monthly or annually, however you want to do it. But just quickly to brainstorm, put a number in the chat. We're just guessing. But what do you think they might pay for access to something like this? Radio stations, construction companies, churches. Yeah. Veterinarians, people who are in trauma healing. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So tell me what you think they might pay for something like this. Let me know in the chat. And that's just one. I just want to give you one little way. There's a lot of ways, and I teach them all in my 8-week training program, but that's just one way that you can charge $50 a month or more for your app idea. It does not have to be 99 cents. You don't have to put yourself on the struggling penny by penny roadshow. You don't have to do that. Okay, I see $10,000 a month, $50K a month, $8K a month, $10K yearly. Yeah, y'all see how this works, right? $500 a month or $497. Yes, right. Can you guys sort of see the path to some money with this? Can you see that? Cool. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put a link into the chat because I see some people asking me for it. And then we're going to keep building our app as the direct next thing. But I'm going to put the link into the chat because some of you guys want to schedule some time to talk with me and my team about this idea that's brewing in your head. All right. And maybe you want me to teach you how to build it. And maybe you want me to build it for you. Maybe you want help thinking through your target customer so that you're really clear on that strategy and the marketing. Any of those things are really good things for us to talk about on this call. And so I'm going to drop the link for you right now. The calls are first come, first serve. To be completely honest with you, yesterday we completely booked out of calls. I had to add more calls to the calendar, and this is the last amount that we have. So I don't have anybody else on my team who can help me talk with you guys. So I just gave you the link. If you already booked your call, then don't worry about it. Candace says, what if there's already an app out there like that, but it's not just like yours? Yeah, I mean, think about this, right? There's no industry where there's only one of something. There's Uber and there's Lyft. There's Airbnb and there's HomeAway. If you walk down the bread aisle, there's all kinds of different brands of bread. So I don't want you to get caught up in there being something out there sort of similar to what you're doing, right? You're going to put your own spin on it and make it better. And we'll talk through that and exactly how you do that in your map. Okay, so I'm just dropping the link. If you have not already scheduled a call, here is the link. That call is a good call if you are, it's a good thing to schedule if you're feeling like, yep, I want to take this seriously. I actually want to invest in myself and doing a training program to actually learn how to monetize an app, how to come up with an app idea, and also how to build it, right? And just to be clear, we'll be talking about if the training program makes sense for you. The price ranges between $2,000 and $6,000 depending on what you want to do. So just want to give you that up front. Cool. Shosh says, I just had a call with someone on your team this morning. I talked to Jason. It was priceless. I cannot believe that was totally free. His professional clarification of impact versus income, that was like solid. It was genius. So you're good. So some of you guys already had your call and it was really, really helpful. So I just put the link in there for you. Christine says, you are the only you. Your app will have its own unique audience. Exactly. Rain says, God will make room for you. I love that. Okay. So take a second and get your call booked if you've not already. By the way, the link when you book a call, it looks like this. me share my screen. It looks like this. And so you pick a time that works for you. And then there are just some simple questions like how long have you had this app idea? You know, what number should we call you on for the call? And you fill this out and you have your call submitted on the calendar. Cool. Okay. All right. So let's pick up where we left off yesterday, because yesterday we started building an app. And we are using a tool called Glide to do that. So Glide is this tool, the website is glideapps.com, where you can create powerful apps and websites without code, right? And so you can do all kinds of things inside of this app, but essentially you're going to turn a spreadsheet into software. You can do all sorts of stuff. So this was the site that we used. And if you're not clear, if you want more information about this site, or you're not really clear how to create an account, go watch the day one video, because I'm not going to repeat what we did in day one. I'm going to build upon what we did in day one. So here's what we made in day one. So I've logged back into my account. And when you log in, by the way, let me just show you this. When you log in, you'll be able to see the library of apps. You probably only have one. Mine's called Tara's Airbnb. That was the app that we created and started working on. And so I'm going to click on that to open up the editor for that app. So that's how you get back in here. And so what I want you to do right now is watch and take notes. And then as soon as it turns into a recording, if you're going to build with me, you can follow my instructions. So here's what we did yesterday. We created this view in the app that toggles back and forth between a list view and a map view. So it's list view, map view, list view, map view. And I can do that by clicking this button down here at the bottom right-hand corner that goes back and forth. And what we have are a map of sort of locations that you can rent, right? Right now on my map, I have 2. And you can see the little pins on the map. And if I click on the pin, for example, I can see the listing right here. I can see a preview of it, and then I can click on it to see more information. We haven't formatted this page yet, but I will see more information here, and we'll set that up today. And if I click back, I can click on another listing on the pin, and I can click on the preview. The preview shows up at the bottom, and I can click on that and go to the details page for that with to set up this details page. If I prefer, though, and I don't like looking at it from a map perspective, I can look at it from a list perspective instead, and I can just see the list of everything. So we set this all up yesterday. Y'all remember this? Yeah. Okay. And then also we set up this plus sign in the top right-hand corner. And this plus sign, we did this yesterday where we could put in the name of the location, the description, the address, the cost per night, and an image, and we click add, and it shows up on this list. So that's what we did yesterday. That's an incredible amount of app building to get done in one day. All right. Dariel says Glide doesn't publish to the app stores, right? You can put your app into the app store. There's a separate additional step for you to do outside of Glide, but you can take your Glide app and put it into the app store, yes. Okay, so what I want to do today is now build upon the next steps of this, because if you click on one of the locations, we see the details page for that location. But here's the thing, it doesn't have very much on it. We want to show, the description, maybe the address, all that information. We want to show it on here. So what I want to do next is design this page. Y'all down for that? Designing this page? Before we design this page, can you guys tell me, did you guys have trouble with the image uploader from yesterday? I know I had trouble with that. Did anybody else have an issue with that? Did anybody else have the problem? Or was it just me? And again, this is going to turn into a recording. So as you watch it now, I want you to take notes. And then when you watch the recording, you can follow along. Yeah, did anybody else have the problem? It was just me. It looks like it was just me. You guys are like, nah, it was fine. You were able to upload your image? I see a mix. A lot of people are like, no problems. It was just fine. Most of you guys did not have a problem. Worked for me, Vicky says. Okay. I'll show you what I did, which was sort of like a behind the door fix temporarily for it. Because I got stuck on that. Some of you guys it worked okay for, some of it didn't. In the 8-week training program that I have, we have you get access to one-on-one tutoring sessions. So the one-on-one tutoring sessions, that would be a really great way to say, hey, I did everything right, but I got stuck on this one thing. Can you help me with this? Right. So the tutoring sessions are really good kind of examples of where you would go in my Apps Without Code Bootcamp 8-week program to get that fixed. I'll show you what I did, but I'll come right back to that, because here we want to design this page. So the first thing we want to do is we want to put an image up here on the page. And actually, let me show you what I did to fix it first, and then we'll do this. If you were not able to upload images, one thing you can do temporarily is if you go to the data editor and you're on the locations table, if you just click on the one of the cells in the image area, if you double click it, a pop-up will appear. And then you can click on this tab that says stock image, and you can search for, let's search for like house, and pick an image that looks cool in here. So you can just put the image right in from here. If for some reason it's not working on the other page, just for now, you can put in your image here. So I have images in here now. And that's for going to the database locations and then just double clicking into the cell where the image should go. And you can go to the stock images. Okay, so back on my layout tab, which is right here in the middle. And I want to actually put stuff on the screen. Like I want to show the image. I want to show the description. So pop quiz. What do you think I should click if I want to put the image on the page? What do I click? Any guesses? If I want to put the image onto this page, what should I click? Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Any guesses? Any guesses? Any guesses? If I want to add something to the screen, that was a hint, by the way. If I want to add something to the screen, what should I click? For those of you who are in my bootcamp program, you should know the answer to this. Let's see, I'll give you a second. Yeah, you guys got it. So if we want to add something to the screen, over here on the left side, we can see all the things that are on the screen. So we click the plus sign to add to the screen. And so I'm going to click the plus sign here. And there's all these kinds of things that I can add to my app, but I just want to add an image. I'm going to search for it. And here I want image. I don't want image picker. I just want the actual image. So it's this bottom one, image. I'm going to click that. And it's probably going to guess it. But on here on the right where it says data, it's asking, where do you want me to get the image from? And your answer is, well, duh, I created a column where we're saving the images. So pull it from that column and show it in the app. And so this should be image right here. Now you also can play around. I just want to show this to you. You can play around with the image height here. You play around this, but I like this square one right here, the first option. Okay, what else do we need to put on here? We had image, we had description. What about description of the property? We already have the name and the image. Let's put the description. If we want to add a description, what do we got to do? Plus sign. So we're going to click this plus sign again. And we're going to put, let's put some text, just regular text onto the page. Text. And it may guess it for you that the text here, description, that's what we want. You're going to put the description here. If it doesn't show up here, let me just, mine's not showing up, but I think it's because in my database, I don't have a description here. Let me just write one. If there's no information to show, it's not going to show it, which is why I didn't show my description. Now that I added a description, you can see the description here. So let's make the style, let's make it, try maybe like headline 4. Maybe no, let's do large. Let's just do large. All right. So we have the description of the property here. And what else do we need to put on the page? What did I miss? What did I miss? Now, when people added it, they put the address, but I don't think we want to put the address actually on the post. Oh, the cost per night. We forgot the cost. So let's add the cost. So to add the cost, we're going to click the plus sign to add to the screen again. So plus sign here. Let's get some text again. And over here where it says text, we don't want to show the address. Now you can choose to show the address if you want to, but you may not want to, just so that random people don't show up. Usually Airbnb does not show the actual, they show the pin on the map, but not the actual address. So instead, we're going to change this, click the drop down over here. Let's make this the cost per night. Let's make this the cost per night. And if it doesn't show up, go to your data and make sure that you actually have a cost. I did not. So here's the cost per night now. It's showing up. Okay. So now we're putting this information onto the screen. So that if I click back, I can now click on any of the locations and now see a beautiful page that has all the information for it. See how this works? Yeah. Cool. Okay, so the other thing that we are going to do on this app is we're going to add ratings and reviews. We want people to be able to do ratings, right? And so we want to have a button on this page where people can leave a rating. Now I'm going to get a little bit fancy here. We're going to do some fancy stuff here. But pop quiz, if we want to add ratings and reviews to this page where you click on the listing, we want to add ratings and reviews. What do we need to do? What do we need to do first? This is kind of a tricky question. Anyone know what we need to do first? We want to add ratings and reviews. And I'll give you a little hint. We need to have a place to save the ratings and reviews. We need to have a place to save the ratings. So what will we do? What do we do? I see a lot of people saying we're going to click on the plus sign. Not quite yet. We're going to start collecting new information. We need to collect something. And so we need to actually have a place to save the thing that we collect. So where do we go if we want to set up the app so that it can save reviews? It would be really annoying if they come in and they leave a review and then it forgets their review immediately, right? We actually need to be able to save the review. Otherwise, it's going to be a dumb app, right? It's going to be a dumb app. So we have to have a place to save it. That's exactly right, guys. We're going to go to the database to create a place to save the review answers. Before we do anything on the design, we need to have a place to save it. So we're going to go to the data editor. And we're going to create a new table. So where it says tables over here, you're going to click the plus sign. And we're going to create a new empty table. And it's going to come up with a random gibberish name for that new empty table. We're going to call this ratings and reviews. So I'm going to create a title for it. And now I have to actually put the columns because there's 3 columns that I need here. I need the name of the location that they're rating, so we know which one it is. We need their actual rating itself. And then we also need the review. So let's create columns for that. So we already have the name. Let's add another column. And we're going to, by clicking this plus sign on the right, that's how I did that. And we're going to say this is the rating. And the way that I'm going to set this up here, let's actually do this as You could do it as a number or text. Let's do it as text for now. I'll show you why in a second. But we'll put this rating as text, and we're going to click done. And we're going to click another plus sign again, and we're going to call this the review. And this will be text as well. And click done. So now we can have everybody who adds a review or rating, it can add a new place. We have a place to save it. So the name of what they're reviewing will go here. The rating they gave it will go here. And the review we gave it will go here. So we have a place to actually save the information. Right. Now here's another thing we need to do. And this is a tricky concept. I'm going to get a little bit intermediate advanced on you, but I want to show you the breadth of what is possible with a tool like this. So here's the thing. You see how over here on this side, we have locations and we have ratings and reviews, right? Those two things, listen to me carefully. Make sure, try to follow this. Locations and ratings and reviews are connected to each other. They are related to each other because one location might have multiple reviews, right? There may be multiple reviews for one location. So they're related to each other. Locations and rating reviews, they're related. So what we have to do is we have to create a relationship in the database between these two things. It's called a relation in the in Glide, in the app builder. So to do that, we're going to go over here to the locations table. And we're going to add a new column by clicking this plus sign over here. We're going to click a plus sign. And we're going to call this column, we're going to call it relation to ratings and reviews. This is the thing that's going to form the connection, the relationship between the location and the reviews. If you don't have this relationship, people will be leaving reviews for random locations and not this location. So you want to make sure that they are connected to each other. So the label is relation to ratings and reviews. And the column type, any guesses what the column type is? This is some tricky stuff here. Any guess what the column type should be? Any guesses? The column type is going to be this special type called a relation. A relation. And then we've got to answer some questions. So the first thing is it's asking us, okay, what of the in those two tabs, what is the column that is related? One column is related to the other, and that's how I know that they're the same. So we're going to relate them together based on the name of the location. The name of the location in one is the name of the location in the other. Whatever the location says on the locations tab is the same location for the ratings and reviews. So if they left a rating and review for Tara's second home, please know that that's for the location called Tara's second home. I know this sounds maybe obvious that of course they're leaving a review for that location, but the app is dumb. It can only do what we tell it to do, right? And that's good news and bad news. The good news is we get to create whatever instructions we want for the app, and we don't have to code to do it. We just have to tell it what to do in English, but we do have to tell it what to do nonetheless. So we're saying this column right here that says name, that's the same column, same information as, so you're going to leave this top one as name. This bottom one, you're going to click the drop down, and we're going to relate it to the ratings and reviews table and the name that's in the ratings and reviews table. So ratings and reviews name. Again, you go to ratings and reviews name. And finally, we're going to click this checkbox on match multiple. And the reason we're going to match multiple is there can be multiple ratings and reviews for one location. Multiple ratings and reviews for one location. So we want to allow it to match multiple. So again, this new column in the locations area, the label is relation to ratings and reviews. The column type is a relation. You're going to relate this name column right here to the ratings and reviews table, and specifically the column called name. Whatever the name is over there is the same as the name over here. And we can match multiple because there could be multiple ratings and reviews for one location. Whew! That was a lot. That was a lot. I'm going to click done here. And I want to pause for a second to check in. What questions do you have about the concept of a relation, relating things together? Let me know in the chat. Does that kind of make sense? Kind of not? Let me know. Let me know where your brain is. I wanted to throw something kind of fancy at you so you could see how this works. And again, if you're not an expert on this, it's because literally you've only been doing it for 2 days. I showed you something more advanced right now. But I wanted to show you different kinds of things that you could do in here. Let me know in the chat if this is making any sense. Kinda, a little bit. Melissa, you got it? Cool. The whole reason that we did that was because people can't be out here leaving ratings and reviews for non-existent locations. You're doing a rating and review for this location. That's what that is. Okay, I'm seeing some, yes, it kind of makes sense. If that was confusing to you, I'm going to recommend you watch that back in the recording. Because it's okay that it's confusing. I would say that that's top 3 hardest things to do in this tool. And so I just wanted to show that to you. It's something that you can do. Okay. All right. Let me see how we're doing on time. One last thing that I want to do in this database area, and someone asked me this, can you allow people to do star ratings? And essentially what we're going to do is give them a multiple choice where they put 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, right? So let's set that up as well. We're going to make one more table over here. Click this plus sign. And we're going to do a new empty table. And we're going to call this multiple choice options. And right here where this has the name, we're going to rename this. So just click the drop down and click edit. And we're going to call this star ratings. X is okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get, I use this site called Emojipedia to get the emojis on my computer. You know, you could type the emoji on your phone. Sometimes I want to access them on my computer. So I got the star. Okay. And I'm going to go back to my app. And in here, I'm going to put 1 star. And I'm going to add a new row, put 2 stars, add a new row. These are going to be the multiple choice options they can choose from, right? 3 stars, 4 stars, add a new row, 5 stars. So now we have these star ratings that they're going to be able to choose from once we actually get into the app. This is kind of like a nice to have, but I think it looks pretty to give them the stars. Okay. Cool. Okay. All right. So now let's go back and design amp. We did everything we need to do in the database. And this is the initial, if you're going to collect new information, like what's your rating and review, we need to set up a place in the database to save it. All right. We did some fancy footwork here. So let's go back to the layout and let's put this all together. So let's go find one of the locations. I'm going to go to the list view and click on one of my locations. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a button onto this page that allows people to add a rating and review. So to do that, I'm going to click on this plus sign next to screen. And I'm going to search for a button. But there are actually a lot of different kinds of buttons that we're doing. But anyone want to guess what kind of button we want to add for people to have a form open up where they can add their rating and review and type it in? Any guesses on what kind of button I should choose? There's all kinds of buttons: barcode buttons, buy buttons, floating buttons, phone number buttons, email address buttons. Any guesses what kinds of buttons? Oh, there's a question. Where did you get your stars again? I go to emojipedia.com, which I just found, and it has like a directory of all the emojis out there. Yeah, Whedon got this right. That's exactly the right answer. We want the form button because we want to open up a form where they can add their review. right? So we want the form button right here. And it's going to create this button. So over here on the right, we can change the settings for the button. So instead of open form, let's change this. Let's say leave a rating and review. And then let's actually click on the button itself to open up the form where someone would add the ratings and reviews. So over here on the right, it's asking us, hey, when someone types in their rating and review, where do you want me to save it? That's what this is asking. What sheet? What's the destination where you want me to save it? And you're like, well, duh. I created a whole section in the database called ratings and reviews. I want you to save it in there. Why would I have made it if I didn't want you to save it there? So right here from the drop down, we're going to choose ratings and reviews because that's where we want to save the rating and review. Cool. Okay. So I see a couple things here. So that has a place for the name, a place for the rating, and a place for the review, right? For the review, let's make the text box a little bit bigger so they have more space to write. So over here on the screen, I'm going to click text entry for the review. And if I scroll down, there's something that says size. Let's make this medium so they have a little bit more space to type. And for the rating, this is just an open text entry. We don't want that. We want the drop down with the stars here for the rating, right? So let's get rid of, Glide kind of tried to guess what we were going to want by putting name and rating. We actually don't want either of these. We're going to do these differently. But for the rating, if you hover over it, there's an X, you can delete it and get rid of it. So I'm going to delete the text entry for rating. And I'm going to re-add it, but it's a different style of thing on the page. So I'm going to click this plus sign next to screen. And what I'm looking for is called choice. We want to give them choices, multiple choice. Not just open text, what's the rating, but just a multiple choice. So you're going to click choice. And make sure you selected it over here. And we're going to change the settings over here. So the source where this is all coming from is going to be multiple choice options. Multiple choice options. And oops, sorry, let me go back. The choice over here. So the source is multiple choice options. Where do you want me to get the information about what the stars are? Well, we created that area for stars, right? So it comes from the source. And the title, let's make it rating. And we're going to save it to where it says write to, we're going to, save it to the rating column, the column called rating. So the source is multiple choice options. That's where it's going to pull the options from. The title of this section is rating, and it's going to save to or write to the ratings area, the rating column, right? So now if we click this drop down for rating, I can choose how many stars I give it. See this? Cool, right? Okay, now one last kind of fancy thing I want to show you. And that is here where it says name. People can type in the name of the actual Airbnb location, but that's kind of weird because they were just on the page for the location. Why would they type it in again? So let's delete this. Let's get rid of this. Over here where it says text entry name, we're going to X this out. But we do need to collect it. Even though we're not going to ask for it, we do need to collect it. And so I want to introduce you to one more kind of intermediate concept before we wrap up. This is the last intermediate concept I'll show you. And that's called columns, like sort of hidden columns. And what a hidden column is where we need to collect some information that the app kind of already knows. And we don't want to ask the customer again for it, but we still need to collect it. So we're going to collect it in a hidden way. So to do that, we're going to click on the plus sign on the screen, and we're going to add one more thing on here. If you scroll down, there's this section called screen columns. And what that means is they were just on the screen that had the information for the location. Pull something from that screen. So specifically, we want to pull the name of the location from the screen and save it. So we're going to put name right here. And you'll notice that now name is being saved. However, it's not showing up on the form. We're not asking for it, but we're still collecting it. So here I can write my review. This place was great. And I'm going to give it 4 stars. And when I hit submit, I should be able to go to my database and it should save. Let's see. So I'm going to hit submit. And let me go back over to my database and go to ratings and reviews and check this out. It knew what location I was saving it to. It knew the rating and the review. Pretty cool, right? Let me pause here. What questions do you have? What questions do you have? I'm going to pause here. Any questions? Any questions? So this is as much as I'm going to teach you today. This whole ratings and review system and also setting up this page. It's as much as I'm going to teach you today. And then on Thursday, we still need to put the actual reviews at the bottom. And then we need to create the booking system to actually book it. And then we've got the basics of what we need here. So I'm going to pause here and I'm going to open up to questions. I'm going to pause here and open up to questions. So what questions do you have about your app idea, about me teaching you this, about my 8-week training program? I wanted to show you some fancier things today. We got a little bit fancy today, but I wanted to show this to you and show you kind of what's possible. What questions do you have? And as you're answering questions, I'm going to paste into the chat again the link to book a call with me and my team to talk through your app idea. Now that you're kind of seeing what's possible and what you can do, here's this link you can use to book some time. Okay, Awaken Dating says, what about if you want to connect through ID? You absolutely can connect through ID. I actually recommend you do connect through ID. I'm just sort of giving you a simplified version. But if you want to connect through ID in your data editor, when you do your relation, you're going to relate it to the unique ID instead of the name. You'd add a column for unique ID and then you'd connect it to that. So you absolutely can do that. Oh, you can't see my screen. Sorry. I was showing you right here with the relation. If you wanted to do it with unique ID, you could, and you would relate it to the unique ID instead of the name. That's totally possible. You get lots of flexibility here. Okay, other questions about your app idea, about boot camp, any of the above. Let's see, where is my screen? I lost you. Okay. Can you add where you can answer the reviewer's review? Yes, we're not going to do that in this challenge, but you absolutely can put like comments and conversations on the ratings and reviews. Yes. Mama Mia says locations and ratings and reviews. Yes. I was curious, is the name the name of the reviewer or the name of the location? The name in that column is the name of the location. It's the name of the location. That's a good question. William says, how did you get it to find the name again? I think you're asking about the relations. That's a longer conversation for me to do again. And so I recommend you watch the recording of this to see that. How do you reorder the stars order value? There's a functionality to sort. You also can just, if you want to make it really straightforward, just copy and paste to move them around. So for example, you can copy and paste inside of here. Multiple choice, like if I wanted to copy this, I could copy it and now put it at the bottom, for example. So you can do that. Okay, other questions. I want to make sure I get a lot of questions today that folks have. Jerry says, please send me the link for the tool you use to build this app. It's called Glide, glideapps.com. The Lady Trucker says, would you use the same apps for a Yelp style app? I mean, the Yelp style app has a different design, but similar concept, yes. Can Glide auto-generate unique IDs? Yes, actually it can. Can you have some from the internet automatically be pulled and placed into the app? Yes, you can. The easiest way to do that is for you to do some initial research and import like a spreadsheet in. But there are also all kinds of fancy ways that it can pull, but automatically, like web scraping is what it's called, and you can do that. But the easiest way is to just upload a list. Can the name of the reviewer be listed? Yeah, absolutely. We just need to add another column for the name of the reviewer. How do you submit your app to the App and Play Store? That's something I don't have time to do a full tutorial on, but inside of the bootcamp program, I will show you that. So if you book a call and you're in my 8-week training program, I'll do a training and have a training on that. Sophia says, do you use Glide to create the app for other folks? So if like I'm building an app for other people, or using Glide. Yes, absolutely. I'm still using Glide. So either way, whether I build the app for you or I teach you how to build the app, we're still going to use the same tool. Cindy says, how do you add a host and renter view separately? You would have a separate profile tab, and on the profile tab, there'd be a question: are you a host or a renter? That is something that is going to get part of an Airbnb. We may not get to all of that in detail in this challenge, but that's absolutely part of a full Airbnb app. And you would just ask the multiple choice question upon sign up. See, Whitney says, question: if we have multiple app ideas, is it a good practice to make apps on our own until we can afford to pay for app and bootcamp classes? Yeah. Like you should absolutely be practicing. And also you should go like talk to some potential customers and see what they say. Okay. Kimberly says, I've been trying to schedule my orientation. Please have someone help me. Kimberly, if you email us at support@appswithoutcode.com, we can get you scheduled into your orientation. Also, if you don't want to wait for support, all you have to do is log into your portal. So if you log into your portal, you can schedule or reschedule orientation right in there if you're already in my 8-week training program. Kimberly says, can we use this to make a financial or a game app? Definitely a financial app. The game app, you might use this tool or a different tool depending on what kind of game you want to build. So if it's like a card game or like a swiping game or something like that, then you totally can use this. Let me take my screen down. Other question. So when you download and install apps, the app asks you what they are collecting. I'm not sure I understand that. What they're collecting? I'm not sure I understand that question. You said, I love the way you teach. Thank you. You're so welcome. William was looking for the RSVP link. Okay, great. So if you want to see the rest of this challenge and you also want me to send you the recordings, make sure you have signed up on this link. Many of you have already done it, but a lot of you did not formally RSVP to this challenge. So just put that in the link in the chat. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss any. Nicole says, how do you get the recording? So what's going to happen is in about 5 minutes, once I finish answering questions, all you have to do is stay here and just refresh the page and the recording will be right there. Let's see. Other questions. Val says, does the program, your training program, the 8-week program, does it have instructions on how to maintain the app we build? Yes, absolutely. I'm not going to leave you hanging. It will have information on how to maintain the app. What's nice, though, is that there's not a lot of different things you need to do to maintain the app. If you build with code, like the traditional way, there's a lot of stuff you have to do to maintain an app. When you build an app without code, there's not much maintenance. It's really just like new ideas you come up with of things you want to add. But I am going to walk you through all that. Yes. Sophia says, can you show the syllabus of the 8-week program? Yeah, absolutely. Let me pull that up for you. So there's 8 steps in the program. The program is designed to be 8 weeks, but if you have extra time, you can breeze through it and do it really fast. Or the good thing is you have lifetime access to the program, so you can take your time if you want to and need to as well. Let me pull up the syllabus for you. Oh, wait, hold on. I need to go to a new tab. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up. Let me answer one more question and then I'll show you the syllabus. How do I look at the first classes video? If you're on the RSVP list, then actually earlier today I sent you the recording. I will also send it again so that you have the recording again for yesterday and today. So yes. Christine says, is this a good place to make a church or ministry app? Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good place for that. Okay. Let me log out of here so I can show you the syllabus. Give me 1 second. Okay, let me share my screen. One second. Let me log in. Okay. All right. So boot camp has 8 main steps. The first step is for you to schedule orientation. Of course, you get your own app when you're in boot camp. So the first step is to schedule orientation. Orientation is all about, this is a class with me, and your orientation is about coming up with an app idea and making sure you have a strong idea, how you're going to make money with it. So we're going to lock in what you're going to charge for your app idea, all that good stuff in orientation. We're also going to talk about how to find customers and your marketing initially. So you're to schedule your orientation class, and then step 2, can you guys see this on my screen, by the way? You can see it. Make it bigger. Step 2 is to complete your pre-orientation lessons. So when you click into this, there are a handful of lessons for you to do on pricing your app, clarifying your app idea, finding your customers, what to do with the marketing, and how to do your marketing messaging. Then the next thing is you're going to schedule your design meeting. This is a one-on-one meeting where we're going to map out all the screens of your app so you have a clear map and roadmap of exactly what you're going to need to build. If you don't have a clear roadmap, this is going to be really confusing and hard to do. So we're going to design all the screens so that you have a drawing of exactly what needs to happen. And so that's what your design meeting is. Then you're going to schedule your app skills class. And your app skills class is going to be a class that's sort of like this, a little bit more robust. You're going to build another sample app. You're going to get really comfortable in your app building skills. And then also you're going to have a class to really help you and refine you with the skills that you kind of started a little bit of what you've learned. We're really going to build upon that so that you really get comfortable using this tool. And so those are your app skills classes and homework. And there's homework in each of these. If you're in the full package, because there's a full package and a half package. So the half package is where I teach you how to build it. The full package is where I teach you and I build it for you. So if you're in the full package, then the next step is you're going to schedule your app review meeting. So for the app review meeting, what that means is we designed all the screens, we have the drawing, and we're going to go and start building it. And we're going to send you an email and say, hey, we've got an app draft ready, about 70% done. Can we look at it on Zoom together? And you're going to go, I like this part. I want to change this part. You're going to be able to give feedback. So that's what the app review meeting is. That's only for full package where we're building the app for you. And then once the app, we're going to take any edits that you had, make the edits. And then we're going to have the app handoff meeting where you get full ownership of the app. It's in your account. And now the app has been complete here. So if you're in full package, you have these extra steps in here. And if you're in half package, you skip these steps because you're going to build it yourself. Then you're going to get access to tutoring sessions. So now as you have your app skills together, you're going to be able to go one-on-one into tutoring that you're going to unlock at this phase for anything you got stuck on. So a tutor is going to be able to help you. Hey, I got stuck on this one thing. I couldn't upload the images, and the tutor will be able to help you, and you book this here. And then finally, the last step is now that we've finished the app and you have an app out in the world, this is where you book your marketing strategy consultation to think through your marketing strategy and getting customers on board. So that's the 8-step structure of the program. Does that help? Help? Yeah. Cool. Cool. there was a question of how much is it? Let me see this question. Jerry says, can you own it? So who owns the apps built by Glide? Great question. So this works just like, imagine you're an author and you go to Microsoft Word and you write a book on Microsoft Word. Microsoft does not own your app, your book, right? You just use their tool to write it. So it works the same way. These tools do not own your app or any of your idea. You're just using their tool. That's all. Patrick says, is there a way to get tech investors? Yes, absolutely. That's something that we'll talk about in our bootcamp training program, and particularly once we get to the later part of it, but absolutely. Pauline says, are these sessions taught during regular work days? No. Classes are only available on evenings or on weekends, because I know people got a lot of stuff done, and you can choose the date for your class that works for you. So on all those places where you schedule the class, there's a calendar that pops up. Cool. What about a replay from yesterday's presentation? So if you were on the RSVP link, I'm going to paste it again. If you RSVP'd, then you will get all the replays. And you'll get the link in an email. Yeah, Jesse, it's exactly once you do that. Okay. Marcel says, how can I get section 1 reviewed this weekend? I'm going to resend it to you, but if you have the link, if you've RSVP'd via the link, then you're going to get the replays. Seaweedy says, how much is the lifetime access? So when you sign up for bootcamp, you get lifetime access regardless. And the price ranges between $2,000 for the 8-week training program and $6,000. And that's depending on if you're doing the full package or the half package, or I'm building it for you, or I'm teaching you just how to build it. And you can just choose which one works best for you. Okay. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to wrap up and take 3 more questions, and then we're going to wrap up. We have a full Q&A session again that's going to be on Thursday. So there's no class tomorrow, and there is class. Our last class is on Thursday. All right, no class tomorrow, last class Thursday. Let me book. Mr. Day says there's no mom today. No, I'm no longer at my mom's house visiting her. I had to leave because, she was bothering me while I worked. I love it. She's cute though. Okay. Let me grab 3 more questions. Cindy, do you help with the business plan as well? Yeah. In orientation, we're going to walk through the most important parts of your business plan. So yes, absolutely. Mary says, when you use the Glide templates, can you delete tabs? Yeah, you can hide the tab. You can't delete it, but you can hide tabs so that they're not visible to anyone. And you do that over in the left, top left, click on the eye that looks like an eye icon. Patrick, how do you get to pitch your app to companies like Facebook or Google? It depends on what you're pitching for. You're talking about funding, you're talking about them to be customers. Depends. Ray says, do you get the last 2 sessions, the tutoring and the marketing with the half package as well? Yes, absolutely. The only ones that you don't get with the half package are the ones that are related to us building it for you. So we've got to review it. But yeah, you still get the tutoring and the marketing session in the half package. Yes. And if you want to talk more about this, you should book your call. Can I make an app like Angela's? Yes, absolutely. Is it too late to get on the RSVP list? No, it's not. I just posted the link in the chat. I can repost it again. Get on the RSVP list if you want the recording, and you also want me to tell you when class is on Thursday, because I'm not going to text everyone, just people on the RSVP list for Thursday. Jesse says, does Glide have a limit or capacity if my app has a membership? Only based on plan. So I think on the free plan, you would be able to have like 10,000 members, and after that, you would need to upgrade. But, if you have 10,000 members, that's fine. Upgrade. Okay. Sophia, she said, please answer, but I don't see your. Oh, okay, we pulled it away. Okay. All right. Let me grab one more question. Naturally Me is asking about game platforms. Take a look at Stencil. Stencil is the name of a platform for games. Cool. Julian says, what if Glide can't build the app in its entirety? So you need to access like external stuff or payment API. Is that covered? Yes, you absolutely can do that. And doing that with your tutors is usually the best way to do that in the program. But yes, it's very common that you'll use, we'll use often like a tool called Zapier to pull in information and connect information with other apps. So yes, that's very common. We can totally do that. Okay, all right. If you have remaining questions, it would be really make sense for you to schedule a call. Jesse says, are payment plans available? We do have a payment plan for the full package, not for the half package though. Cool. Okay, awesome. Okay, we're gonna wrap up here. If you have additional questions, send me an email or book a call for us to talk. Cool? All right, perfect. Patrick, I think you missed what I said earlier, but I run an 8-week training program where I help people to teach them how to build their specific app idea. And so for those folks who love what they learned here and they want to work with me on their app idea, then they can do my 8-week training program. The price for the 8-week training program depends on if you want to learn how to build the app yourself or if you want me to build the app for you. And the price ranges between $2,000 and $6,000. I run a school called Apps Without Code, and we've trained 150,000 people to date on how to build their own apps and app businesses. Cool. All right, I will see you guys Thursday. Tomorrow is your catch-up day. So tomorrow, you'll be able to watch the recordings, go back, catch up if you want to build along with me. And then on Thursday, you will be able to finish this up. Cool. All right. I will talk to you guys really soon. Have a really great one. Bye, y'all. Stay here if you want the recording and just hit refresh as soon as it's over and it'll turn to recording. Okay. Bye.